All right, it looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. This is meteorologist Andrew Panero with another weather podcast. So, we have a couple of things to talk about. We do see some storms out there, and there is a tropical storm to talk about. So, let's get started by what's out there right now. So, if we take a look, let me get that down. Outside right now on the radar, there's some spotty showers and some thunderstorms in some areas there. I want to look particularly in the middle part of New Jersey here, where there are severe thunderstorm warnings. So let's zoom in a little bit here. What's very interesting with this is it's kind of like a bow shape. So that means this is a fairly fast-moving storm that's just kind of pushing through, and it's bow-shaped because the middle part of this storm is moving faster than the edges are. That's kind of where you see this kind of odd shape with the severe thunderstorm warning box going around it. That's pretty quick but intense, and all these little white dots in the middle, it's kind of hard to see there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. So if I zoom in here, bring up a little bit more towns. Those little white specks right there, those are some lightning bolts. And some areas are seeing some pretty dense lightning bolts. Here's another area let me zoom into. All those little white specks, and you can see the kind of trail of them, those are all lightning strikes inside the thunderstorm. So this is kind of where the center of that storm is, and you can see kind of where this is predicting to go. Let me see if I can pull that up. So in some of these towns, it's showing the time. It's not entirely clear, but it's showing, looks like by 6:30 right here. This is the line for 6:30. So it's going to be within an hour. All this storm is pretty much going to be moving through. And if we zoom out a little bit more, there's a little bit more behind it. Right now, this is in Pennsylvania. So all this stuff in Pennsylvania will continue to make its way into southern New Jersey, but this will be getting later, so we may see it start to diminish as the sun goes down, because remember, the fuel for these thunderstorms is heat, and that heat comes from the sun heating the ground. So once you remove the fuel source with the sunset, although it's going to be later today, we may see these storms kind of have the bottom fall out right from under them. Not entirely certain, because today is the first day of summer, and that means that today is the summer solstice. So it is the longest day of the year. Not in terms of hours, but in terms of sunlight. So we may see these storms actually make its way a little bit more than usual because of the longest day of the year. So that may make its way just barely getting to the shore there. So we do have some thunderstorms, but clearly not everywhere. So zooming out a little bit here, we're seeing pretty much throughout all the tri-state region, most areas are not in a thunderstorm there. We are seeing, let me zoom in a little bit here into Long Island. So here comes some storms right there. Pretty good chunk of storm right there, and it's moving pretty quickly as well. We can see those lines. Let me see if I can pull these up at all. Or is it going to be a little bit too blurry? Yeah, it's a little bit too blurry. But some big areas, it looks like it's going to be just scraping Brentwood there. Islip is down here. Those storms will be approaching right now, but it looks like it's over Comac and Melville and Hicksville right now. So that's where this is right now. This again will be continuing almost in an easterly direction, maybe a little bit of a southerly push to that easterly direction, but these storms will continue over the next few hours, and again, as the sun sets, even though it's the longest day of the year, as it sets, less heat means less fuel, so those storms will diminish as the next few hours progress, as they make their way through the island out there. In the lower Hudson Valley, not really too much of anything. There were some storms that looked like over Middletown, and interesting, I was in that area, and for a few years, it looked like storms always kind of centered right around Middletown, and we could see Middletown's right where my finger is right there. There were some storms, and it looked like it just froze for a second, but there they go. They were there, and they're gone. Then on the loop, it shows they pop up and diminish. So again, most areas are just seeing this kind of pop-up storm, and that's about it until you get to those bigger areas in Nassau going into Suffolk County, and then the southern part of New Jersey. Actually, it looks like it's got a few more severe thunderstorm watches. So kind of interesting that there's a severe thunderstorm watch inside a severe thunderstorm watch there. But nonetheless, this is a pretty strong line making its way through, so definitely be mindful of any flooding out there as well. We could see some strong or heavy downpours with this that could instantly flood a road. And remember what the National Weather Service says, turn around, don't drown. So if you do see a flooded roadway, even though you know it may not be that deep, I would definitely not drive through it, because you don't know if the road actually caved out beneath it and there's like a 4 or 5 foot ditch down there that is just 4 or 5 feet of water. So definitely be careful with any of these storms. So that's today. The next couple of days are going to be fairly nice. So tomorrow is going to be nice. Friday is going to start out fairly nice, but then we're going to see some showers and again these kind of pop-up storms going into Saturday. Now that is all associated kind of with the moisture or the energy from Tropical Storm Cindy. So now let me bring up, here's a satellite image. So it's kind of interesting to see these kind of lines here from the storms making their way through. Just a quick thing with the satellite there, but I do want to get really on to, hey, where'd it go? National Hurricane Center, there we go. So this is for the Atlantic Basin here, and the only one really here is right there. That is Tropical Storm Cindy. Now let me pull up some details here. This is the predicted map from the National Hurricane Center. It's kind of making this interesting. It's going to make, it looks like after it makes landfall, it's going to stay fairly organized as it makes kind of an interesting path from the Gulf of Mexico states, Texas, Louisiana there, all the way through. And this is ending at Saturday at about 1 p.m., just barely scraping southern Jersey. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more into there. So definitely looks like it's going to be right around, this is just where the center of it will be. It could be a little bit more widespread as it starts to weaken and it gets a little bit more disorganized. So the Delmarva area just barely going into southern New Jersey. This is where it looks like it's going to be by the afternoon hours on Saturday. What's interesting though, not every single forecast model is agreeing on that. Some are showing it's going to be a washout. Some are just showing some light precipitation. And they are kind of flip-flopping back and forth. So let's take a look into that. So on here, this is the GFS model. We can see, and this is showing tonight at about 8 p.m. It looks like it's just ever so close to making landfall right there. And let's fast forward through the GFS model here. If it decides to go. Oh, there we go. Maybe. So it looks like it's kind of jumping around, but this is, the image itself is from Friday night, Thursday night, sorry. This is Thursday night at about 8 o'clock. So you can see it got a little bit more disorganized, and when it got more disorganized, it got very widespread. What's interesting though is there's a low pressure center here to the west of it over just near the Four Corners area. There's also a high pressure out in the middle of the Atlantic. That's the subtropical high. These two will kind of be funneling it through. And again, this is the GFS model. So when we get to, looks like here is Saturday morning. So Saturday morning is showing nothing really yet, just maybe some light showers throughout the tri-state region there. Then when we get to Saturday afternoon, if it goes through, Saturday afternoon looks to be a little bit more widespread with the shower activity. Can't rule out a thunderstorm either because we do have the summer heat in the 80s. The other thing that's interesting to note, those black lines there, those are the isobars. See how closely packed they are? The tighter they get, the stronger the wind. So Saturday doesn't look too pleasant there with these strong winds, and even in this case, some showery activity, not really a heavy downpour. The next one I want to show you, this is the CMC or the GEM model from the Canadians. So let's see, it's starting right now, about tonight, and it's kind of showing the same picture. just barely offshore, about to make landfall. So some good agreement in the initialization of each model, which is something we do take a look at. And as this goes through, so right now this is showing Friday night at about 8 p.m. The center of the low pressure system is, what is that? Looks like just past New York, just right around New York State, northern New York State there. So this came through much quicker than the last one. Let me see if I can see when exactly the moisture starts. So this is Friday afternoon, and this is where it looks like the bulk of this moisture is going to start funneling in pretty quickly, according to this model at least, the Canadian CMC or GEM. And fast forwarding here, if we go into this overnight Saturday morning, the bulk of the precipitation's out of the area. We're just dealing with this very thin strip right there of some precipitation. It looks like to be some heavy precipitation too with some of the yellows, but that's just ever so slightly out of the area. That's more in the Delmarva area. So not really too much our storm. And then when we fast forward this even more, by the afternoon it looks pretty clear. A few more spotty showers once you get into northern New York State, but throughout the tri-state region, pretty dry. So it's interesting to show one model showing pretty much a showery or rainy washout versus another one that's showing the showers and the precipitation really coming through much earlier in the overnight hours and lingering into the morning, but then by the afternoon, as it's showing in this picture, a little bit dry. Beyond that, high pressure does come into the area. There's the high pressure that came from the middle of the country coming up into our area, and this is going to be for Sunday. So the Canadian here is showing some spotty showers in more so central New York State there, nothing really over the tri-state region. And I think the GFS was showing the same thing, although it was giving me some issues right now. I don't know if that has to do with trying to pull, it looks like it is trying to pull a new model run. Let me see. See if I can refresh that. No, let me go to the last model run. So every few hours, every 6 to 12 hours, depending on the exact model, the forecast models rerun themselves with new data from the weather balloons. I'll have a video on that coming up on my YouTube channel that explains it in a little bit more in depth. So going back to this. So Saturday, this is the GFS, and it's interesting. The newer forecast model wasn't as aggressive. This the last forecast model from this morning shows quite a bit of rain coming through. So even within a particular forecast model from this morning to this evening's model run or this afternoon's model run, it's changed. So this is a very dynamic system. There's a lot of stuff happening, so I'll definitely keep you updated. So on this one, it's showing quite a bit of rain. Let me see if I can switch this back to the 18Z model, or the, say 2 o'clock. Nope, wasn't running through. So it didn't finish uploading to the site, which is it's interesting though. The last little bit we saw, it's flip-flopping kind of on itself, the GFS between forecast model runs. So going back to here, let me get this morning's model run so we can go a little bit more later into the week. So now this is Sunday. This is Sunday afternoon. Nice clear spot pretty much throughout all the tri-state region there. So I'm going to say it's going to be a partly to mostly sunny day. Sunday is definitely going to be the pick of the weekend because we're not too sure what's going to happen with Saturday. It could be a little bit of showery stuff in the morning, clearing for the afternoon. Could be a washout. So it's a little bit hard to judge right now with these models kind of flip-flopping there. But Sunday they are agreeing pretty much all on a nice sunny day. This is Monday as well, which starts out fairly nice. It's about 8 a.m. Let me see if it can catch up there. A little bit clear. There we go. That's clear in the morning. But when we get to the afternoon and the evening, we are seeing some showers come in. So morning sun, afternoon shower. And it's going to be lingering a little bit on this into the overnight, but not too much. So now we go into Tuesday. Tuesday's about the same story. This is Tuesday afternoon where these showers are just barely making it through into our area. This high pressure behind it's odd, the shape of it, kind of trying to get itself into the area, but this low pressure system and the moisture is kind of keeping it down. So we do see these kind of shower chances, light shower chances, Monday and Tuesday, and then the end of the forecast period for Wednesday. High pressure fully makes it into the area there, and it looks like it's going to be fairly nice, at least on this forecast model. Some are showing a little bit different. The Canadian doesn't go out that far, but this is going through until, actually this one does. So Wednesday, I just wanted to show you for instance here. It's showing kind of the same thing with the high pressure there, but there's some moisture just south of us and just north of us, so I'm going to leave this ever so slight shower chance later in the day on Wednesday. And the last one, the NAM. This one does not go out as far as next week, but at least I wanted to show you with Tropical Storm Cindy there. About the same spot initializing, which is good. That means all these models are starting out the same way, which sometimes they don't, even on the very first frame of the forecast model. And then as this, you can kind of see, if I can step off the side there, kind of a slow mover over the next few days there until all of a sudden it comes around. Because remember, high pressure in the northern hemisphere has this clockwise rotation. So this high pressure and the subtropical high there in the Atlantic, that is pulling around clockwise and kind of pulling or pushing the moisture into our area, unfortunately. And this right now is overnight, Thursday into Friday. Friday, it shows a bit of this moisture coming in for the evening. There we go. For the evening hours, some showers making their way in. Then going into Saturday. So this is about 11 a.m. Saturday. Not really too much. Showers, little spotty things there. Nothing really. And then this goes out as far as 2 a.m. Sunday, which shows clearing. So the NAM looks to be the least aggressive out of all of the forecast models. This morning's run of the GFS was the most aggressive. It started to back off a little bit, it looked like on the later or the afternoon run. So it looks like it's kind of flip-flopping a little bit, but I'm not really saying we're getting a lot of rain. I'm just going to say we're going to get some morning showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. So now time for the 7-day forecast there. Once it pops up here, anytime now. Is it going to go? There we go. So Friday, I'm going to say the morning's going to be fairly dry, but then starting to see a thunderstorm or a shower. And oh yeah, tomorrow, beautiful day, mostly sunny. Or I'd say get out tomorrow because the next couple of days, Friday, Saturday, not too pleasant. Then Sunday is the next nice day. So as I mentioned, showers, maybe a thunderstorm for Saturday morning. And these highs are going to be pretty much in the low 80s. So it's going to be nice summer-like temperatures at least, but the humidity does kick back up quite a bit on Friday with those storms and the showers and the tropical moisture coming in that is going to have that humidity with it again. That I'm going to say is going to be clearing for the afternoon and the evening hours on Saturday, maybe just a mix of some sun and clouds. Sunday is going to be the fairly nice day of the weekend, mostly sunny, pleasant. 81, so a little bit cooler. It's also be a little bit drier because that system's pretty much out of the area. Then for Monday, we're going to see morning sun, but maybe a brief shower in the afternoon or the evening. That will linger a little bit overnight into Tuesday. Tuesday, again, just a light chance of a spot shower in the afternoon. And then Wednesday looked like a fairly nice day, topping off right around 81 degrees. So we got quite a active weather week coming up with Tropical Storm Cindy kind of throwing us a curveball here. I'll definitely keep you guys updated. And if you want to check out my YouTube channel, I do also have some interesting explainers there. I'll be having a lot more weather updates going there as well. So this is meteorologist Andrew Panera with this week's weather forecast and the potential for Tropical Storm Cindy bringing some energy into our area. If you want to stay updated, check back here. I'll be on the weekend on Saturday this weekend, giving a little bit more detail, and we're going to be seeing what happens with this Tropical Storm Cindy. Over the next couple days, tomorrow and Friday, I'll also be giving some weather updates to kind of see what the latest forecast models are running. Have a great evening, everybody. Enjoy tomorrow, and happy first day of summer.